Well, Aya, let me quickly come to you as someone that has been in the United Kingdom for a while, and you also have a PhD in sports.
Postgraduate diploma.
Yeah. Oh, postgraduate diploma
Yes, in international sports law.
international. There's this thing about African players, having problems, especially in England, trying to break, from here and get into English clubs. Why is that trend? Why is it so difficult? You have players from here going to France, make it into this, but from here to England is always difficult.
It's not that it's difficult. It's just that there are simple rules
to be followed.
The rules state that you must play 75% of the national team's games to be considered eligible to play in the Premiership. There are even some players who don't meet that criteria, and sometimes when it goes to the Labour Tribunal, they win on appeal. But I think generally speaking, the way for players is to go to Europe. However, what we actually need is for all our philanthropists and rich people in places like Nigeria to set up their own academies.
Yeah.
Academies which will be centered around education and not just sports par excellence. The reason why I'm saying this is because so many times people have placed their eggs in one basket. For every footballer who is picked, there is probably about 100,000.
Yeah.
There are 100,000 who will get a disappointing letter saying thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah.
So in the eventuality where players are not successful in football, I think it's best if they're prepared for something else, maybe like
life
after football, maybe like education. We even had somebody like Fabrice Muamba recently who had a heart defect, had to stop football, and now had to retrain in the media.
Well, let me quickly throw this at you. African players in Europe. Let me stay with England because you're there and you've been there for a while. I mean, you've seen Premiership games a lot for over 13, 15 years, and you've seen the English national team. Why do players of African origin, no matter how good they are, apart from maybe the strikers, goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders, I mean, they're a rare quantity in the English Premier League. Is there a particular reason for that?
That's a good question you've just asked me. Let us flip the coin. Assuming that the league in Nigeria was very prosperous, and they were, let's say we ran a professional league the way it should be run,
yeah.
Something akin to the MLS or maybe La Liga or the Premiership in Nigeria. How do you think some of these foreign players, or should I say English players or players from Spain, will fare in Nigeria? There are a lot of things they have to cope with. You have to cope with the weather, you have to cope with the culture, you have to cope with the diet, you have to cope with the environment. It's not easy leaving your family.
But it's not too much about talent.
It's not. I don't think it's to do with talent. It's more to do. It's more than talent.
Okay.
It's more than that. It's not just talent. Yes, talent is the first step, but there are other factors. Take for instance, we talked about the national team manager. No matter who you are, if you don't have the tools to work and you're not happy, I'm talking like a media officer, a physiotherapist, a psychologist, a dietitian, a fitness trainer, you're not going to succeed. It's like a team.
Okay, all right. Let me also ask you, you see players like, Yaya Toure doing so well, a lot of African players. At some point, Eto'o said if it was probably a Brazilian, he would have won the World Footballer of the Year so many times. But let's focus on those African stars. Do you think they're always underrated? I mean, you're going to see Toure in your picture very soon. Do you think these players, no matter what they do, they're always underrated in Europe, and they may not, after George Weah, I don't remember any African player getting to the top bracket for the UEFA awards?
I think sometimes you have to look, who are the people organizing the award?
Okay, there's always...
Sometimes an award is only as good as the people who have organized it. Sometimes it's objective, sometimes it's not. I don't see any reason why Yaya Toure should not have been in the top 3 in the world.
Okay.
It should have been there.
You've had the privilege of seeing Yaya Toure in close quarters. You've watched Manchester City so many times, and sometimes it beats me why he doesn't get a mention. He doesn't get into the top bracket when you're talking about footballers in the world.
Well, the same thing happened to him when he was in Barcelona. You would think that you wouldn't know that Yaya Toure actually won the treble with Barcelona. He was in the same team with Eto'o,
Yeah.
the team that beat Manchester United in 2009. He was in the team, and it was an
So obviously,
important cog in the wheel
so obviously,
of success.
and that's your picture. It wasn't because of talent. It wasn't because anything was lacking.
It wasn't because anything was lacking, not at all.
Okay.
Yaya Toure is a world-class player, in my opinion.
All right, all right. I think that settles it. Well, let's go to tennis. I don't know if you're a big fan of tennis, but
I am.
Okay. And what can you say about the tennis circuit, female tennis? Serena Williams, bossing everybody around. She's going to play in the final of the Sony Open, defeated Maria Sharapova. She's going to face Nilina in the final. But you're looking at Serena, and you're like, who's going to take the crown away from this lady?
That's a difficult one. Not that I want anyone to take the crown away from Serena. Serena is, as far as I'm concerned, in our generation, the best female tennis player since Martina Navratilova, in my opinion. She dedicates herself to tennis. Good father who predicted that her and her sister will go on to win Grand Slams. But he did predict, he said, she will be the one. And we are seeing it. The older Serena gets, Serena is like fine wine. She's maturing
Gets better.
nicely. She gets better. Every year she sets herself goals. And you just know, no matter what ranking she is, she's still the best player in the world.
All right, in 30 seconds now, as we wrap up the show, how far do you think Serena can go? How many years do you think she has in the bag? Can she stay on?
I think Serena has 2 more years at the top, and I think Serena will at least win 2 more Grand Slams.
Okay. Well, that's coming from our guest this morning, and Ayodele Odumade says Serena has, more years in the bag and could still win some Grand Slams. Well, in the men's singles, Rafael Nadal booked his place in the semi-final. Let's allow you enjoy how Rafael Nadal was able to cruise past his opponent and book a place in the semi-final of the Sony Tennis Open.
Honestly, it's amazing. I literally had no idea. I knew I won 6 times, but I'm like, wow, I never expected to be in the final again. So, I'm just excited. I mean, it's cool.